Welcome to the second session of Anon Ki Paathshaala Season 2, a transformative initiative designed to empower students, educators, and professionals through a series of life skills focus sessions. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Today's session is all about exploring interpersonal versus intrapersonal behavior and our actions, a topic that holds the key to fostering better self awareness and building stronger connection with others.
There are many people who are supporting Anon Ki Paathshaala because it will give bridge the gap between what the we are all are learning in our schools to the corporate life. So it's very important to fill this gap with our understanding, because emotions play a very important role throughout our life.
Thank you so much, Aarti ma'am, for your valuable insights. Please join us in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Vipin Tuteja as he leads us in exploring the interpersonal as well as intrapersonal behavior and our actions. Sir, you may go ahead. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Aarti ji and the team, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk to everyone over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking about, through my experience, about the interpersonal and intrapersonal behavior and how they impact us and our relationships and our interactions. Now, whether you're a student, whether you're working, you're a professional, you're a teacher, any and every individual today is impacted by it. So, what is interpersonal behavior? Let's just jump into it. When we interact with others, when we communicate with the others, whether it is verbally or non-verbal, in whatever context, as long as you're communicating, it involves interpersonal behavior. And what are the things which are involved in the interpersonal behavior? The first thing is the empathy, which is understanding the other person who you are talking to. The second is the communication, because once you know about the other person, then you're going to be communicating. How well are you communicating? What are you talking about? How well are you listening? How are you taking feedback or giving feedback? And the third is when you're communicating with everyone, you're forming a trust and you're forming collaboration. You must understand the basics of communication. You must know who's the sender, who's the receiver, is there clarity in the message, and is there a feedback loop which has been kept in the process. Practice active listening, which I just mentioned, very important to give full attention, avoid distractions, show that you're listening through eye contacts, through verbal affirmations, by saying, yes, I understand, etc. When you are talking to the other person, make sure you're clear and concise and don't go into talking and giving too much of unnecessary details. Try and understand who your audience is, who you're going to be talking to. What is it that will help them? What is it that they are looking for? What is in it for them? Once you are try and understand what's in it for them, you will be able to improve your communication. Use your non-verbal communication effectively. What is non-verbal communication? Which is your body language, which is your facial expression. You must make sure that it's a warm, friendly body language which you're putting across. You have a right facial expression. You're looking cheerful because that's what makes them feel everybody good. You should have an open and transparent dialogue. You should be very, very clear of what you're talking about. Be approachable, be non-judgmental. Create a safe space for them. Make sure if somebody is talking to you, they feel that they can trust you. Giving and receiving feedback again is also an important part of communication. Managing emotion comes in every part. Uh, you must stay calm and composed in every conversation. Use of technology today is very important. Use various ways of communication, which could be emails, which could be chat, which could be video calls. You could use various platforms to be able to do that. And lastly, once again, please keep empathy in mind, because until unless you try and Until unless you know what the other person's situation is, you'll not be able to understand what they are talking about and what they really meant. Building trust and collaboration. In trust and collaboration, it's very important to understand the importance of trust. Trust is the belief in reliability, in the integrity, in the competence. So, are you coming out to be a reliable person? When we say reliability, what do we mean by it? Reliability means that whatever you're talking, are your actions aligned to what you're saying? How would the other person really know what you mean? Whether you mean is something which you're going to do or not. It's only going to be through your actions. So make sure your actions are aligned. The second two key principles of building trust is being transparent and honest, being very, very authentic about it. You must speak very openly and honestly, which also means that if you do not know about something, you should clearly say, yes, I'm not aware of it, or I will come back to you with this information. Third thing is make sure you're inclusive, which means you respect every individual, you respect their backgrounds, you respect their thought process, and try and understand that thought process. Make sure you keep promoting open communication. You encourage accountability because, again, whatever you're talking, until unless you also are accountable for it, until unless you sound accountable for it, you'll not come out to be an authentic person. You could also come across various conflicts. How do you resolve the conflicts is an important thing. Are you resolving conflicts in a constructive manner or not? Conflicts do happen. You have to understand that the conflicts will take place, but how we resolve those conflicts is an important thing. You have to work together with everyone to try and understand what their perspectives have been, try and have a better understanding, be more empathetic, and then try and see what could work out where everybody is in a win win situation. Lead by example, very easy to say, but difficult to do because we end up saying a lot of things, but we ourselves don't practice the same. Remember, everybody is observing you, they also watch you. So, whatever you say, they expect you to see following the same. Until unless you do that, you'll not be able to create a positive influence. Leverage collaboration tools. So there are many collaboration tools which exist today. Leverage the technology and those tools to make sure that you are collaborating. What could be? Those could be project management tools, they could be various communication tools, they could be some shared workspaces which you may decide to work on. So collaborate with others. Let's try and understand what is intrapersonal behavior. Intrapersonal behavior is how we understand and relate to ourselves. It's all about self awareness. It's all about knowing your own emotional state, knowing what is it that you want to do, how do you want to move forward with that. And how do you work on the intrapersonal behavior? There are three elements to it. One is the self reflection, the second is emotional regulation, and the third is the personal growth. Let's look at how do you self reflect? One of the ways to do it is to create a quiet space. Have that time frame available with you where you set aside those time frames where you reflect on what you've done during the day, how things went by, how did other people experience you, how did they speak with you, how did you speak with them, what was your emotional state during the day. By doing that, you'll be able to realize what are the things which probably triggered you? And which is what comes in the fourth point, which is identify your patterns and triggers. What upsets you? What stresses you out? What touches your raw nerve? What are your raw nerves? To understand the other person, ask open ended questions. Open ended questions actually build in curiosity. Questions like, okay, how was your day today? What went well? And what happened? What could you have done differently? You could also use these for your own self reflections, saying, okay, how did my day go about? What am I grateful about? What happened today? How did my emotions influence some of the actions? What did I do? This will help you review your key experiences. It also helps you identify pattern and triggers. Use some tools and techniques. You could start writing some other things on a daily basis. You could make certain notes. You could start writing a journal. You could do a SWOT analysis of your own self. Say, okay, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? How do you take feedback? Is another way of it could be another tool to really help yourself. You could also do mindfulness. You could meditate. You can practice mindfulness really to calm your mind and to understand what's happening within your body. Based on self reflection and what you find out about yourself, set the goals based on those insights. Work on those goals. Define those goals. Make sure they are specific goals. Track progress of those goals. Don't forget to practice self compassion. What is self compassion? Self compassion is your own self reflection with kindness and growth mindset. Acknowledge your own good work which you've done during the day. Acknowledge your own accomplishments. Also, avoid harsh criticism. Avoid being judgmental. Try and think, okay, what you could have done better. And if you find that you probably could have done better in some areas, those could be areas of improvement and those could be the opportunities to grow. So, through these insights, please try and find out what are the opportunities which will help you grow. And lastly, whatever you decide to do, make it a habit. So, self reflection in itself, you should make it a habit. It doesn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes in a day. If you just take out those 5 or 10 minutes, please spend time on self reflection because that's what would help you in your intrapersonal relationship. The second element which we talked about was regulating your own emotions. Are you able to recognize all your emotions? As I said in the previous one also, while identifying the patterns, are you able to understand the triggers? What ticks you off? What makes you angry? What makes you agitated? And in every situation, important thing is when we say pause for reacting, but I would say don't react to anything, respond to a situation, respond to a circumstances. Do not react. First of all, a few seconds, pause, and after that, respond and not react. Important thing is to use cognitive reframing. What do we mean by cognitive reframing? Cognitive reframing is challenge your negative or distorted thoughts. For example, if it comes into your mind, you feel, well, I didn't do this well today. I failed today. Instead of saying I failed, you should say, well, this is an opportunity for me to learn. Instead of failure, replace that word by learning. You never fail, you learn because that's what brings you to a continuous learning mind frame. Look for what are the silver linings in that. Maybe today you learned a lesson which would help you really in the longer run to have a much bigger gain. So shift your focus from problems to solutions. We talked about mindfulness. We also earlier mentioned to express your emotions when we said you should do it constructively. What we really mean is if you have a friend, go and talk to that friend. You could write in a journal, but you could also share with your friend and take feedback and find out. Speak about it. Develop emotional resilience, which means that don't let the negative emotions take over you. Don't spend too much of time on it. And lastly, seek support when it's required. It's always important to seek support. It's not a bad thing to seek support. Until unless you ask, nobody will help you, and nobody will even know that you would require help. So always ask for help, always seek support. The third element which we talked about was personal growth. When you develop awareness, you identify areas of improvement. Please set smart goals. Create an action plan. Get into a lifelong learning mode. Start measuring yourself as to how you have progressed, how you have improved over a period of time. What is the difference which you've been able to do? As long as you're moving on that scale, it is good enough. Don't try and aim that you'll go from 1 to 10 in a short period of time. Important thing is to make a beginning. Even if you move from 1 to 1.5 to 2, that's good. Acknowledge that. Build a support system. As I said, speak to other people, find out a friend, find out a family member, any mentor who you can speak with. So, what is the connection between the interpersonal and intrapersonal? A strong intrapersonal behavior lays the foundation for effective interpersonal reactions. Because until unless you strengthen your intrapersonal behavior, your interpersonal interaction effectiveness will always be low. It's very important to go for it. It is very important to understand these dynamics in daily life. Why does this really matter? What matters is it helps us to navigate all our emotions. Once you're aware of it, once you know what you do, you'll be able to navigate. It has a strong impact on relationships. It makes them more healthier because you're able to understand, you're able to communicate better, you're able to know what the other person is looking for. Create empathy. What I mean by empathy and what I mean by knowing the other person is you just need to know why that other person is doing what they are doing or behaving in a certain way. You don't need to agree with it. All you need to do is understand. You may not agree. That's a separate thing. But at least you understand where they're coming from. It helps towards your personal and professional growth. What could be the benefits? For students, you'll have better peer relationships. You'll be able to resolve the conflicts. You'll have better academic collaboration. For parents, they'll be able to manage stress. They'll be able to improve family communication and become role models for their children. For teachers, they'll be able to engage with the students in a much more effective manner. They'll have inclusive classrooms and they'll be able to maintain professional relationships. For people who are working, they'll have better teamwork, they'll have less stress at the workplace, their decision making capability will go up, and they will be able to build strong professional networks. You need to build in your network, which becomes an interpersonal behavior. What that does is it enhances team efficiency, reduces personal stress, and foster collaboration. We've seen that these are some of the data points which says that empathy where employees become 85% more effective. The CEOs do perceptions of empathy improves. Communication helps. It has reduced employee turnover by 50%. In trust and collaboration, it brought in a 78% higher employee engagement. You look at some of the data points of self-reflection. There was a research done with 442 executives and which showed that self-reflection on experiences of surprise, frustration, and failure significantly advanced their professional development and leadership skills. On emotional regulation, again, there is a study which says that on sadness regulation strategies found that effective emotional Regulation significantly predicts low levels of depression and anxiety. On school related well being, research on students showed that their cognitive appraisal and emotion regulation strategy positively predicted school related well being, highlighted its importance in the educational setting. Similarly, if you look at personal growth and learning, we found that the mentorship and personal development and workplace learning and development went up higher significantly. And thank you for your participation. I'm very thankful and grateful to all the participants. Happy to stay connected. Please do reach out if you would like to interact or connect.
Thank you very much, Vipinji. Thank you so much for.
Thank you so much, Artiji. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll see you in the next session. Until then, take care and keep learning.